Hi, this is Katie Shell. I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual counselor. I work with several modalities, including astrology, aromatherapy, and embodied movement. This is an astrology video, and we are going to be talking about Lilith, specifically True Black Moon Lilith, and what it means. There's a lot of different interpretations of who Lilith is, and then even more how Lilith falls into our charts, how we work with Lilith in astrology. There are actually several different types of Lilith that we can look at in our astrology chart. So I'm going to go over all of that. But first, I want to talk about kind of the energy of Lilith, because whenever we're talking about things, we're not necessarily talking about their story. We're talking about the energy, the archetype that it is, and how that shows up in our lives. So, who Lilith was the first wife of Adam. She said she wouldn't submit to his rules. She wouldn't be seen as less than. So she sprouted wings, left, made her way in the wilderness on her own. Probably fornicated with the creatures of the wilderness, creating children, which people have referred to as demons, calling her the mother of demons. Anyway, so she's vilified for being essentially for standing up for herself, being independent and doing things on her own. So when we talk about her, we're talking about instincts, we're talking about sovereignty, we're talking about nuances, because there is no one kind of logical thread that we follow with her decision making. It's just things that she knows by taking in lots of information. It's about physical body. It's about being in our physical body and understanding that is, again, it's complex, it's nuanced, it's feeling and trusting all of that and how that plays into it. So then we look, so kind of looking at the astrology a little bit more, and I'll kind of go back and forth a little bit here. We see two basic kinds of Lilith in our charts. Most of the time, when you are using a chart calculator, they're going to be showing you what is called the mean or average Black Moon Lilith. And so Lilith is a point of the moon, a point of the moon's orbit that is the furthest from the Earth. And so the mean version, and it moves around a lot. It is erratic. And so what happened is with the mean, which is again the one that we tend to see represented in most charts, is streamlined for where it actually is. It creates sort of this average of where this kind of sort of erratic movement is happening to make it more simplified, to make it fit into an easier box, make it more structured. But really, we can still, even though it seems erratic, it seems irrational, we can still predict the patterns of where it actually is. I can tell you where the true Black Moon Lilith is. If I pull up a calculator, it can 100 years from now, 200 years from now, because it's predictable. It's just doesn't fit into the simplified box that we wanted to. And so that is what the mean Lilith is. The mean Lilith is its average, and it can be as much as 30 degrees off in our chart, which can be a different house, different sign, conjunct different planets in our chart. So it really makes a big difference. Personally, mine is about 2 degrees difference, my true Black Moon from my mean. So it really kind of aspects the same things within my chart and with people I connect with. But it's important to focus on the true, because the true is what, that's the reason that this point is represented by a being that is erratic or is seemingly erratic, and then we just try to put her in a box. So let's not do that. So don't use the mean, use the true. There is, or it's also called oscillating. So I have a 60-second tutorial on here that shows you how to look it up at astro.com. I will link it or put a card or however YouTube works. So you can look that up for yourself. Of course, you can always get a reading from me, and I can tell you all about it, because I love working with people. I get a lot of people with really strong Liliths coming to me, probably because I have a strong Lilith in my own chart. So that's that. Focus on the true Black Moon Lilith, not on the mean Black Moon Lilith. I know it's a little hard to follow. And then there's something called the asteroid Lilith. And the asteroid Lilith is something completely separate, different energy, and that's not what we're talking about here. So then coming back to the essence of this in our chart. So as I was saying, she gets vilified. She gets vilified for following her instincts, for following her, for trusting what her body says, for trusting what she wants, for declaring her sovereignty, going after it. And so one of the things that it represents in our chart is where we feel vilified or unable to express those things. This is a face of the divine feminine at its rawest. I work with a lot of different energies of the divine feminine. You know, you can look at the Venus in your chart, you can look at the moon in your chart. Those are other astrological things. I work a lot with Mary Magdalene. I work with Bridget. I work with several kind of embodiments of divine feminine energy. And Lilith is the rawest. It's the unfettered, untethered, unbreakable spirit of the divine feminine, that it gets suppressed because it goes against this patriarchal standards that we have in our structure, in our society, where things have to be labeled and things have to be put in a box and we have to have reasons for it, when truly, when we are in that raw instinctual place, we are measuring a bunch of things. We just can't necessarily explain them like that, and we have to allow ourselves to act on them. And so that becomes, again, in our charts, where the Lilith is talking about the sign, talking about the house, the parts of our lives. The house represents the parts of our lives it shows up in. The sign represents the energy and how we express it. But it doesn't, but all of that, and I will make videos where we go by house and we go by sign too. But I wanted to start out with kind of this basic Lilith energy, because what it comes down to, however it shows up in your chart, is that it's about owning those parts of yourself and trusting your physical nature, what your physical body is telling you, because we are humans. We are having human experiences, and we measure things by tuning into the body and by tuning into the things around us and just taking in all sorts of information all the time. We're constantly bombarded with all sorts of little bits of information, and the instincts tell us how to act on that. And so again, that gets vilified. So where it comes up is when people are suppressing that, or are being vilified or being blamed for being strong, for expressing themselves in ways that don't fit a particular mold or expectation of them. And so so then again, that's how we figure that out in our charts. If you have so how do you know if you have a strong Black Moon Lilith, true Black Moon Lilith in your chart? One, you first house, especially on the cusp, 10th house, especially on the cusp, conjunct any of your other planets, because that energy just gets infused, especially sun, moon, especially the sun and the moon, also Pluto, but really all of the Venus, Mars, Mercury, they're all going to show up in different ways. And I can get into that a little bit in some of these other videos I'd like to make. The nodes. Like for me personally, my true Black Moon Lilith is in my 10th house, conjunct my South Node and conjunct my Chiron. So it's pretty prominent. It's something that I bring into the world that people see in me. And when people see that in you, so this is going to be your sun, your 10th house, your first house, true Black Moon Lilith, people are going to blame you, and you're going to be the scapegoat for things that don't fit. If you stand up for yourself, if you claim your sovereignty, and you might not even realize you're doing it, like you're just following your instincts, you're just doing what you need to do, you're doing what feels right, and people just push you down, try to squash that, and again try to blame you for things, or slut shaming is big, all sorts of kind of negative words, calling you bitch, calling you all sorts of terrible things, self-centered, self-righteous, um, narcissistic, anything. The list goes on and on about the way people with strong Lilith can be oppressed. And what happens is often that gets oppressed even more. Or you're angry, like, and you're used to being angry, or you are angry. Maybe you are really fiery. If it's especially if it's conjunct something like Mars or something like that, and it comes out in fire, or if it's in Aries, like those kinds of energies where you're infusing that other energy into your Lilith is going to be in it. Mine is in Taurus, so it's infused with sensuality. It's infused with touch and physicalness, and that's why a lot I work with essential oils and I work with dance and movement, because it's a way for me to physically express myself, and claim my body for myself. But I have been all of the things that I have said before for doing that, and that's, that's part of it, and learning how to work through it and learning how to say F them and doing your own thing anyway, depending on where it is and how it works. So if you have physical issues, if you're having like um physical maladies and problems with the body, a lot of times it is that Lilith that is not being expressed. It is because you're holding back on what your body really needs and what your body is telling you, whether it comes out physically or emotionally, as bursts of anger, as bursts of tears, as or of just silencing yourself because you were afraid of the reaction that you're going to receive because this part of you is not accepted. Learning how to accept those parts of yourself is really critical in owning that Lilith. And again, I'll get into, you can obviously book a reading with me. I have a whole package just for working with the energy of Lilith. Eventually, I have done classes, workshops on Lilith. I plan on doing one again, and I'm excited about it. But for now, just focus whatever it is, because the thing with Lilith is, and the thing with the what I call the nuanced intelligence, the divine feminine, it's about being rather than doing. It's about creating your own rules and following, and again, following your instincts. So whatever I tell you to do, it's really everything I do, especially regarding Lilith. It's about peeling off the layers and the blockages so you get down into who you are and what your body is telling you. I can never, ever, 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 ever tell you what to do with your body or how to do it or how to express it or any of that the right way. There is no right way. There's no right or wrong way to express your physical body, to experience your body. Your body is never right or wrong. Your body is never wrong. Your body is always your body telling you what it needs and learning how to listen to that. So that is what I teach, is how to help, again, where those blockages might be, why they might be triggers for you, what the kinds of triggers are going to be, because a lot of times the True Black Moon Lilith shows up as anger and rage when it's not, when it's being suppressed, because it's been suppressed for so long, it just flows. And that's part of the reason it gets a really bad reputation. It isn't because the nature of Lilith is bad. It's because how it is treated is bad, and then it erupts. And so really understanding that distinction and then working with it, because I can explain, I can talk you through, like, again, what it means, and I will, in some of these things. But the truth is, it's about clearing your blockages, trusting your instincts, and trusting your bodies, which is what I am always helping to do for people. So I hope this helps. Stay tuned for more on Lilith. Thank you.